Welcome everyone to another electrifying episode of the Useful Illusions podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Mythbuster, bringing you a slice of the future with a side of laughter. Remember, we live in times so amazing, even our coffee machines are probably plotting world domination. Today we have with us an extraordinary guest, Ramesh Ramloll, a thinker who has dived deep into the ocean of virtual reality. He's here to share his insights on my personal journey in the metaverse. Ramesh, it's fantastic to have you here. So, let's kick things off with a lighthearted zinger. Ramesh, in the metaverse, can you still enjoy a good cup of coffee, or do you have to settle for virtual caffeine?
Well,
What's your
that's
take?
that's a good question. Actually, we don't have taste and we don't have haptics in large-scale virtual worlds, and we can't actually eat anything or drink anything. So that's impossible. So that would be one of the last hurdles to cross, and I don't think it will be crossed.
Fascinating. No virtual lattes just yet, then. Speaking of paradoxes, in your book, Metaverse or Mindtrap Inner Shift, Outer Shock, you delve into how the metaverse impacts our perception of reality. Could you share how your personal journey in the metaverse has altered your own perception of the world around you? What mind bending insights have you gained from your experiences?
Well, basically, one of the things is the notion of the self, the identity that people usually carry around. I found that it's very malleable in a virtual space, and it also being in a virtual world also allows you to think a little bit about how those identities are created. But in a more practical sense, what I found was that I could actually meet people and collaborate in virtual worlds and not just be there for entertainment purposes. And I did run a team of collaborators for years, and I still do, in a virtual environment where we get to build things, experiment with various applications and 3D worlds, 3D, artifacts that we use in our daily work.
That's truly intriguing, Ramesh. It sounds like the metaverse offers a unique canvas for redefining identity and collaboration. Now, diving a bit deeper, how do you see this malleability of identity and the collaborative potential of virtual worlds impacting society as a whole? Do you think these virtual interactions could lead to profound changes in how we understand teamwork and community in the real world?
100%. I mean, there are people that I've worked with who perhaps, wouldn't have been able to contribute in a real world setting. But in a virtual world setting, you could actually see these people thrive. And that has been like an enlightening experience. So this gave me, a conviction that what happens in the physical world has different rules and different sort of values, and I could actually interact and build, teams with people with a far wider range of cognitive profiles, which is not possible in the real world.
That's a powerful observation, Ramesh. The metaverse breaking down barriers and enabling diverse minds to collaborate is truly transformative. Now, for a bit of whimsy, if you could create a virtual alter ego with any skill or attribute, what would it be? Would you choose something practical or maybe something wildly imaginative, like being able to fly or speak every language? Let's hear about your dream virtual avatar.
Um, Actually, these two skills that you mentioned are actually simple to solve. Um, because with the latest developments in AI, for example, it's not a problem to have real-time language translation. So I can really imagine myself being able to speak a different language in real time, or any language of my choosing through a virtual avatar. It's not difficult. Flying is trivial, basically. I mean, that we could do that since the early days because then you didn't have to work too hard on the physics, to fly in the virtual world. Um, so yeah, these two things that you mentioned are actually very easy to achieve. I think
It's
what
fascinating how advancements in technology can turn what once seemed like fantasy into reality in the metaverse. Speaking of advancements, given your extensive expertise in virtual reality and AI, where do you see the future of the metaverse headed? What groundbreaking changes do you anticipate in the next decade that could further revolutionize our experiences in virtual worlds?
Well, keeping in mind that nobody can actually predict 10 years ahead, but what I do think is going to happen is that we'll see the virtual world or virtual worlds as being a space where we'd actually have to go to in order to access embodied artificial intelligence. That's where we'll go. We'll go to meet, what we call non-player characters today. We'll be meeting, basically members of our team or people, virtual people that we will employ. The reason why is this is going to happen is because I believe that conversational interfaces are actually the easiest way for humans to communicate with and to give instructions. So that's why I really think that everything is ready for that to happen.
That's a profound vision for the future, Ramesh. The idea of virtual worlds as hubs for interacting with embodied AI and non player characters as team members is groundbreaking. It suggests a future where the boundaries between human and AI collaboration become increasingly blurred. Now, as we're nearing the end of our time, let me ask, how do you see these advancements in virtual worlds and AI affecting our understanding of consciousness and the human experience? Do you think these technologies will challenge our traditional notions of what it means to be human?
Yes, definitely. Usually, there are some traditional paths where people are engaged in meditation in order to find, what's the true nature of the self. And but in a virtual world, we can actually see this in a much more practical way. Okay, so through meditation, you can see that okay, you are not the mind, you are not the body, and you can actually see, you have a better perspective on how things are really. But in a virtual environment where you can actually be anything, you can actually, augment your cognition in so many different ways. It becomes very easy to see that, okay, in a very practical, very visceral sense, that we are not what we think we are, or what is exposed to us, or we are not the stories we tell ourselves, about who we are. And that is a process that will actually be experienced by everybody.
That's a thought provoking perspective, Ramesh. The metaverse as a tool for deepening our understanding of self and consciousness is a compelling concept. It's like a digital mirror reflecting not just who we are, but who we could be. As we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners to dive into the fascinating world Ramesh has explored in his book, Metaverse or Mindtrap Inner Shift, Outer Shock. Don't forget to visit ramesh2050.com for more insights. Ramesh, it's been an absolute delight having you here. Looking ahead, I can't wait to chat with you in our next episode, The Future of Virtual Collaboration. Until then, remember, folks, in a world where your coffee machine might be smarter than your dog, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and stay curious. This is Jenny Mythbuster, signing off from Useful Illusions.